Hey, welcome back, barbarians. In today's video, I want to be taking a look at a couple different weapons, mainly the Darkest Before, but also the We Ran Out of Metals, and just talk about a few tips towards getting it. In this video, I do get two We Ran Out of Metals, two separate games, um, but mainly want to talk about the Darkest Before and why I think it's the best pulse rifle for PvP. I am excluding the Messenger with Desperado. I think that's goes without saying, but anyway. This thing is a 540 rounds per minute, 36 in the magazine, very strong aim assist at 75, very low zoom, which is nice. Um, it tends to kick right, and the intensity relatively low. Um, the recoil and the bounce intensity will always add up to 100, just as a FYI. Um, but using this thing, I think it's very easy to counteract that kick anyway. So looking at the rolls here, I think in the first column, arrowhead break definitely comes to mind in terms of a top tier perk and something you would want to use for a scope. Certainly, a little bit personal preference, but you want to make sure you're specced out for the best possible, um, chance at winning and gunning and running that you can be. Column 2, I'm going to go with ricochet rounds, or armor piercing for me personally in those columns. Column 3, we've got overflow, subsistence, tunnel vision, surplus, slide shot, and quick draw. Really not any of them are bad at all. I have overflow and rampage on the Darkest Before. You're seeing the gameplay in the background of, um, which I think is good. Those two pair really well together. I would probably prefer something like surplus rampage, just for that increase in stats. For me personally, maybe even slide shot. I don't know. I have to get those rolls and see how they are used and see how they play. I'd be curious to see. And then moving over to column 4, one for all, rampage, full auto, elemental capacitor, unrelenting, and wellspring. So just some pretty solid perk options. There's only two that really come to mind for PvP at least, and that's rampage and elemental capacitor. PvE, I would increase that to include things like one for all, which is very strong, or wellspring, which some people really enjoy. But I do have a rampage on this one. Of course, each kill will give you increase in damage for a short period of time. And I think I'm actually running a rampage spec on this as well, just to increase the chance of, killing my next opponent with this pulse rifle. I do have another roll with tunnel vision and elemental capacitor, which I've heard is very good on like a void subclass. So I'll probably try that out today. I think that's going to be a really fun roll too, without a doubt. So here in the gameplay, it's nothing too crazy. It just so happens that both of my rerans happen to be on Fragment, so unfortunately it's the same map that you're seeing gameplay from. I am pairing the Darkest Before with a Rice Cakewalker. So if you haven't seen that, that's the the Iron Banner shotgun, and then you do get the Darkest Before. It just came back this season, so if you're wondering, it's not the original Trials weapon. They did bring it back. You get it from completing the Prophecy dungeon, and it can only drop at the boss, so a lot of people like to farm for it, try to get the roll that they really want, which of course is understandable. I personally lucked out and got this on my first go-around, which I was very thankful for. But overall, I love 540 round per minute pulses. Looking back, my favorite pulse probably of all time was the Clever Dragon. That thing just looked good, sounded good. If you remember it from D1, just an absolute beast. I used the Darkest Before when it was out in early Destiny 2 days. When it came to Trials, I did get my hands on it. And it felt good then. It feels even better now. So I highly recommend you guys going out and getting yourself one. It is a ton of fun, and it's really easy to pair with anything. On larger maps, you can get away with pairing it with a sniper rifle, something of that nature. I personally probably wouldn't, unless it's like Midtown or, a really, really long-range open corridor map. But that's just me. And next, I'm going to transition to kind of a 2-for-1 video where I got a We Ran Out of Metals, or whatever it's called, Iron Lord for Iron Banner. didn't die, 20 kills. And in this gameplay here, I also get a rerun out of medals, whatever it's called, with a hand cannon sniper. I'm using the Judgment and the Long Walk. Again, both weapons from the Prophecy Dungeon, so you can see I have an affinity for these weapons this season. I'm really enjoying them, and they really do put in work. This was a really quick rerun out of medals, in my opinion. So I more wanted to talk about that, not so much the weapons, but you'll notice that I wouldn't say I bait my teammates, but given the experience I have in the Crucible, I certainly do position myself where I don't put myself in harm's way. So I make that conscious effort. You know, here I get a little greedy. I don't know why the enemies are teleporting on me. That was kind of crazy. Get that one, chain it. Yeah, I think kill 4 people there. But it's something really important. It doesn't matter whether you're playing solo or with a team, is that I'm always looking at the radar, not for the enemies necessarily. Actually, more often than not. And I know they're on the map, but I'm actually looking for where my teammates are in relation to me. I know you can see their names pop up and see exactly where they're at, but it's actually more vital if you're trying to stay alive to make sure there's at least one teammate around you. And what that does at the simplest level, without getting too far into it, is it's going to divert the attention of if you're fighting a single target. And now that person has 2 targets to choose from, thereby increasing the likelihood that you will win the 2-on-1 advantage. So not rocket science there, but kind of position myself around this map with that in mind, and thinking about the spawn points as well. Yeah, so if I'm going to engage in an enemy, I'm going to hope my teammates are there to collapse on the enemy with me. You know, I definitely took some risks in this gameplay. Didn't really kind of care, more or less, just went for it, which can also be super fun sometimes. Yeah, we are running 6-stack and Iron Banner, so I think we're fighting a team of 3. I don't know what that kill was right there. That was just horrendous. Needed to reload my weapons. I am using the Getaway Artist, which in the previous clip with Darkest Before, in that we ran, I was also using this same exotic, one of my favorites. I think I missed both my snipes here. I don't even go for them. Terrible nade. But yeah, Getaway Artist, and yeah, you could run, you know, Bottom Tree, which I also run on the Warlock, this Titan video, but, oh no, I don't have Getaway Artist, sorry, Dune Marchers. My apologies. Yeah, Getaway Artist for the Warlock gameplay, and then this one is Dune Marchers, of course. Knowing I was sniping, I usually don't run Dune Marchers, even with the increased mobility. I prefer something like Titan's Ramparts, just to have that shield you can see through. Very strong in PvP, so a little bit of both today, going over a pulse rifle and just giving my thoughts on it. Highly recommend you getting it. I think it's the best pulse for PvP currently, and especially for its archetype, without a doubt. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys want to see in the next video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
There will come a day when hope dies, when the sky darkens and a shadow swallows the sun, when this